This is video number 4. I'll actually try to keep these last 2 videos fairly short. I apologize for the length of first and second and third. Okay, so enrichment, we're adding back. Fortification, you're adding something new. And if I haven't said this, breakfast cereals are without question the most fortified product in the American marketplace. They're enriched because they're usually made using processed flour, not enriched flour, to make, let's say, like Fruit Loops. But then these, Nabisco, Kellogg's, they add other vitamins and minerals there to give what we all know to be just junk cereal some visage, if you will, of health. Come on, we're eating Fruit Loops because they're delicious and not because they're healthy. Another thing that you find on food products in the American marketplace, I mean, really all over the globe, are health claims and statements. And they're not the same. I call them bold statements. They often have nothing to do with health, but you think they do. So, and we'll get to that. All right, so let's talk about what you have, the consumer, have access to on the foods that you eat. You have an ingredient list, which runs from largest to smallest. You have a nutrition facts table, which tries to provide some nutrition information, not a lot. It could be more, in my humble opinion. Nutrient claims, which are claims about things in the food, like low sodium, low fat, low cholesterol, typically about nutrients. Those are regulated. Health claims, which would imply that the food has some health benefiting property, like Cheerios and your blood cholesterol. Those are regulated. And then what I call supplement claims. They are basically unregulated claims that a supplement or a product or a potion or an extract can do something. But they never say a disease, because the reason why they don't, then it would have to be regulated. That's how they get around that kind of loophole. So here's your typical ingredient list. I think this is actually from Cadbury Easter eggs, right? Those kind of chocolate eggs that have like the weird cream filling in them. If you just look at this, milk chocolate's the most, and artificial flavor, artificial color are the least. And even within this food, the milk chocolate itself has an ingredient list. It's in parentheses, and so you've got ingredients, milk chocolate. The number one ingredient in that is mostly sugar, milk, cocoa, blah, blah, blah. So that ends the first ingredient, sugar to wheat, right? Sugar is the most. And then the second one is sugar. And then the third one is, let's see, it's milk chocolate with sugar, then glucose syrup, sugar, then sugar. As far as I can tell, Cadbury Easter eggs are sugar and some food coloring and some flavor stuff. Nutrition facts labels are designed to provide some nutrition information. These are on processed foods. The old one, prior to 2019, had certain vitamins and minerals on the food label. This is the new one. The USDA did ask for consumer input on this. I'm sure thousands of Americans provided input. And what they ended up doing was making a food label that probably is better for the elderly, who may have some vision issues. They increased the font of some things. They focused on things like vitamin D and calcium and iron and potassium, which are important for, especially vitamin D, calcium, potassium for vitamin D, of course, to get enough vitamin D. Elderly are less likely to be outside. They may have lower vitamin D levels. And the calcium and potassium, which are important for bone health and blood pressure. And they got rid of the vitamin A and C, which in actuality, those are usually found in whole foods anyways. And you don't really expect to get vitamin A and vitamin C from, let's say, ramen. So they tweaked it a little bit. Why isn't folate on a food label? We added it as part of the enrichment process, as I told you in the other video, in 1995. We know it's important to prevent some birth defects. We'll cover that in my class. So why don't you add it to the food label? It's been enriched into most processed foods. Wouldn't it be important to add it to the food label? I don't see it there. I just don't know why we're left with this sad list of 4 vitamins and minerals, and by the way, sodium. That's kind of the 5th one, right? And that's an essential mineral as well. We've got our fat, our saturated fat, our trans fat. They did add in added sugars, which I think is important because a lot of the juices that parents give kids are just sugar water, and they increase the font. That's your nutrition facts label. On a cereal box, when you see everything else, B12, B2 listed, B6, I don't know, copper, what I'm trying to come up with some strange ones. That's all advertising. That is not required by federal law. That Kellogg's and Nabisco can provide that information implies to me that a lot of other companies could too. Why we limit it like this, I don't know. That is a question for you, the voter, with your representative. And lastly, nutrient claims. These are claims on foods which are regulated. They have kind of a hierarchy of order. When something is low sodium or reduced sodium, it's a certain percent of sodium reduced. I like to tell my kids whole milk is 4% fat. Reduced fat milk is 2% fat. Low fat milk is 1% fat. Skim milk or fat-free milk is in theory fat-free, and that's all regulated. These are only on nutrients. You don't see these that often. It's usually things like iron in infant cereals, or sodium or fat in foods that adults consume. They are regulated though. And then I'm going to end this video and we'll finish up on health claims and government supplement. I like to call them supplement claims.